What's up? Hope everyone's having a good day. So today we're going to do a underrated throwers video on Martina Hellmann from the GDR. And she is a German discus thrower from the 80s. She is the 1988 Olympic champion, a two-time world champion, a PR of over 72 meters, and overall fantastic technician. I would like to shout out Gerald Hofkema here for providing this video. I've used this video several times, and he always has like vintage and just so many like really good videos of throwers and stuff. So he's definitely like one of the premier throwing channels to get videos from and just watch. He has full competitions. He has throws. He has like the most random competitions you'll ever see on video. That you wouldn't even think that videos existed, especially like back in the 80s and 70s. But he has those somehow. Don't know how, but yeah, shout him out. Really good job. Really, yeah. Thank you for providing this video. And today we're just gonna take a look at her technique, discuss some things that this is all my opinion. Things that she does a little wrong, things that she does right. Obviously, she's really good because she's a 72-meter thrower. That's an Olympic champion and two-time world champ. So obviously, she's good and she does good stuff. This is a 67-meter, 56-centimeter throw. And, yeah, let's get to it. So the reason I say that she's overrated... I'm sorry. No. Underrated. Not overrated. Sorry. Is because one, as always, in most of my athletes that I do in this series, I just feel like not a lot of people know her because, one, she's from the 80s, and then two, like, if we're gonna be quite honest, people don't really care. Not care. People don't watch the women's discus as much as the men's disc, especially back then. Sorry if I offended people, but I'm just being quite honest. And again, that's my opinion, so you can rage at me in the comments if you want. And yeah, so, and, I also think a lot of people back in like the 80s and the 70s stuff get really disrespected because a lot of people nowadays just think, oh, they were on steroids, so that's why they threw far. No, they have some of the best technicians ever, like a Wolfgang Schmidt, Jürgen Schultz, Martina here, basically all the German throwers. And then some Americans like Mac Wilkins, John Powell. They were really good technicians. You can't just take drugs and then just suddenly throw far. You still have to have really good genetics. You still have to have really good technique. You still got to put in work. All right? So I hate when people just dismiss people, like athletes, just because they take drugs. All right? Now, I don't know if she's ever been busted before. I highly doubt it because a lot of people weren't back then. But especially if you weren't American or Russian. But, people just assume that, oh, you throw in the 80s, you take drugs, so you're just terrible if you didn't have drugs. And no, she would still throw really far with or without drugs. And I'll show you why, because her technique is probably some of the best I've seen for women. And, her marks and her consistency in big meets prove it. All right, so she's a really good competitor, and yeah, let's get to it. Obviously, a fantastic technician due to the fact that she's German, and I've never seen a German with bad technique. Let me go back. So we'll play this a couple times. Nice. Yeah. So as you can see, very quick, very balanced, kind of not unorthodox, but very unique kind of throw. All right. So let's get to it. So she winds right here. This is what a lot of people used to do back then. They used to throw really bent over. Wind really bent over like this instead of flat like you would like a Gerd Cantor or like a Christian Che or Daniel Stahl throwers nowadays. A lot of people back then used to wind like this to help increase their orbit. You still see like some people have unorthodox winds still, like Yemi Perez, for example, in today's era, or like a Sandra Perkovic. Um, but you don't see that many people nowadays whine like this. A lot more people are a lot more level, especially on the guys' front. But for women, they tend to, um, they can get away with a lot of stuff, pretty much. And I'm always of the belief that it doesn't really matter how you wind as long as you can enter out the back correctly. All right. So if it feels comfortable for you and it doesn't negatively affect your throw, I don't really care about the position that you hit. That's what makes people unique. Not everyone can throw exactly the same. Um, Everyone should look different when they throw. They shouldn't just it's good to take things from different throwers, but you shouldn't what I tell an athlete right off the bat to wind like this. No, I tell them to wind flat because it's super easy and consistent. However, when you start progressing and stuff in your technical journey, you start to figure out what works for you, what doesn't, and you can start experimenting with stuff. So I've told athletes sometimes to wind like this or like a Jurgen Schultz, and it works for them. Others it doesn't. So it all depends on how you're built. Really, if you're really long limbed, short torso like her or Jurgen Schultz. Those are the two names immediately that came to mind. Well, one, because I'm watching her, and then two, Jurgen Schultz, probably the most famous example of someone winding kind of like this. They actually wind pretty similar. So I wonder if that was, well, no, because I guess Lars Riedel was the 90s. But Wolfgang Schmidt didn't really wind like this either. He kind of had a little flat wind, a little bit. But some Germans did wind like this. So I wonder if it was just a thing that the German coaches taught, or it was just a thing because it changed in the 90s, because Michael Mullenbeck and Lars Riedel, they kind of wound pretty flat for the most part. They didn't bend over here. So, but I've talked about this before, especially with a John Godina, in my John Godina video, that when you do a bent over start like this, you notice how she's not rounding her back. She's not arched and tense. She's relaxed, but she's not rounding it. She's not loose. She still has tension. So you want to think about when you do this start that it's kind of like an RDL. So you kind of hinge at the hip a little instead of just bending your back over, all right, to get your chest down. All right, so she's still super connected between her entire body. So you want to think of it like an RDL, kind of. All right, so gets here. And the reason people whine like this is to get a more deep low and high point here. So if you have trouble with your orbit, you might want to try even it just if you want to treat it like a drill, kind of, to just feel an orbit, like if you have a super flat orbit, to feel yourself wind dramatically different. That's usually why I tell some athletes to do it, because they usually have a super flat orbit or just like to keep it down. And this kind of forces you to go low and high pretty dramatically, so you can at least feel what an orbit's supposed to kind of feel like. So that's a tip for you guys that have flat orbits that this could help. All right. But you want to make sure when you do this, you got to treat it like you're throwing flat. So you don't want to move your arms up or down or anything. All right. So you see here, and this is what I'm talking about with women getting away with stuff. You can't do this as a guy with a 2K. Maybe in high school you can do this with a 1.6 if you're strong enough. With a 2K, no, you can't. You can't have your arm this far back. There's no way. I can maybe name 3 men that could do this and throw far. Lars Riedel, ironically, is one. Jurgen Schultz would probably be another. And then either a Virgilius Alekna or Matthew Denny, maybe. Or a Mikolos Alekna. But very, very few men can hold this position. All right, but because the discus weighs nothing to these women, I mean, it's just a 1K disc. You can just do stuff like this. You see women all the time, like a Sandra Perkovic, or a Danny Stevenson where that discus is so far back. Like, that is such an insane position, especially considering she holds it the entire time. Insane. I would like to see her left arm a little more relaxed. It looks kind of like strict, but she's using it to keep inside of her left knee so that she doesn't rip out the back. That's a very standard thing to do. I personally like to coach a little opening the left arm out the back just a little bit, just to allow you to turn out the back easier, in my opinion. But you can't rip out the back, because if you rip out the back, then the right side will get ahead of your upper body. Sorry, we get the right side, the upper body on the right side will get ahead of your lower body. So then you lose your tension and your separation. But I believe that when you throw that left arm just a little bit, so it gets a little bit ahead of this left side, it can help you turn a lot easier. All right, but it's not a rip. You don't rip out the back, so you don't just like fling it around willy-nilly. It's very intentional, and it's just like a little subtle thing, but I believe it helps you quite a bit turn out the back. But this is also a style that people do, especially back then. A lot more people tried to keep this left arm inside of the left knee, all right, to prevent that and to make sure that your legs start first, and because it's a lot easier to hold the separation a lot more, and keep your discus back. So I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, like, obviously, if you have trouble like ripping out the back, I would say this kind of style would help you quite a bit. And then eventually, hopefully, you'll get to a point where you can start opening your left arm a little bit. I do also like that she's really wide. I prefer people be wide than short, because when you're when you stand like super close together, it's very hard to get over your left, and it makes it a lot easier to break at your hip and a lot easier to lose balance when you throw. So do I think this is too wide? I mean, for her, not really. I actually see quite a bit of women actually start pretty wide, and I think that's to do because women in general have wider hips than men. That's just my hypothesis of it. But now that I've actually never really thought about that, but yeah. Sandra Perkovic starts really wide. I guess Raleigh Allman doesn't really. Perez does. Yeah. Danny Stevens, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess quite a bit of them actually do start really wide. That's probably because of their wide hips, compared to men. All right, but she gets here, and the disc is so far back, just so far back. That's insane. All right. But you see now she's flat here. You notice both feet still on the ground. So let's see. When does she pick up? Picks up her right foot when the left foot is at 90. Very good. Has that knee go out and around for her sweep. Very nice. Let's see here. I don't like that she leads with the knee. I would like the inner part of her right thigh or her groin to be facing this way instead of the knee pointing that way. But again, people can throw far like this. So, and it's also like a little product of the time, because a lot of people tended to throw like this back then. So, again, like some of this stuff is kind of like outdated a little. But honestly, if I had an athlete throw like this, I'd be very happy, especially, distance-wise, obviously. I'd love to coach someone that threw 67 meters, let alone 72. But what I think she does super well is holding her chest here. Really nice. Oh, wait, actually, I skipped a couple things. Hold on. So, one, I like that how she gets over her left. Really nice. Armpit over left knee, over left foot. Very nice, very balanced. And you'll notice when she turns out the back, she starts to bend this left arm. Bend her left elbow, I mean. Right here. Now, I don't I think that's just a natural thing she does. And you actually tend to see it a lot with the German throwers, is they tend to bend that left arm. Like Jürgen Schultz and Lars Riedel both did that. Robert Harding did to a certain degree. Kind of, not really, but like a little bit. But a lot of German throwers do this. And for taller people, it's because when you bend this left arm in the middle, it helps you not go super far across the ring. And it kind of brings your center of gravity back into the middle. Pretty much. So you tend to see people like 6'7" and taller doing it. But it's also like a natural thing to do. Like I did it because it was just a natural thing to do. I could never throw with my left arm long. Every time I tried, I just couldn't do it. For multiple reasons, but it just was a natural thing. But if you notice, when she does it, her left shoulder is still out. So she's not bringing her like left elbow into her like body. It's still out and around. So it gets the same effect. You know, it's not like she's pulling or yanking her elbow or something. It's still very relaxed and very balanced. So I think it's just a natural thing she's doing. I could be wrong on that. I don't know her. I don't know her coaches or anything. So, and again, I do apologize. There is about to be like a storm coming in maybe like 20 minutes. And I'm sorry if you can hear the wind. It's starting to pick up a lot. So I do apologize for that. If there's a lot of wind noise and maybe soon to be rain noise. But let's get back to this. So, one of the things I really like, and I think really stands out in her throw, is how long she keeps her chest to the middle. Which means that she keeps what I like to call a T position. Here. Alright, so she keeps her T right there. And what this allows you to do is, one, when you stop your left side, the right side will whip around and it will whip you out of the back of the ring and make you dramatically faster. So you want to think it's like a block. So just like you would block in the front, you block here to allow your right side to whip around. Sorry, whip around, not rip. And that makes you speed up dramatically. Just like at the release, when you stop your left side and you let your right side rotate through, it's a lot faster and you're a lot more balanced than having your whole body move. Uh-oh. The rain's coming. All right. I hope that doesn't affect this audio. I do apologize. I was supposed to make this yesterday, but I was honestly just way too tired. I had like 2 hours of sleep. But let me try and get this done pretty quick before it really starts coming down, and hopefully this doesn't affect the audio. All right. So she gets here. Look at how long she holds this. Her chest to the middle. Really, really nice there. She's still looking there. This is honestly very reminiscent of like a Christian Che, where he just keeps his chest to the middle and his head looking that way for almost the entire throw. It's pretty astonishing. Like, she's still looking back there. That is so insane to do. That's so insane. I love the timing here. When the right foot lands in the middle, her left foot's already pretty much passing. The discus is still so far back. Oh my god. She keeps separation so good. It's insane. Right there. And you're going to notice her right heel does not go down at all. I love the space in between the knees right here because I think that allows you to, one, rotate easier. And I think it acts as like another kind of sweep where it... Oh, damn, that's really coming down. Okay, sorry. I believe, and I made videos and I made points about this before, but I'll reiterate it. I don't like the cue of squeezing your knees together because I try to think of this position as this is your sweep and this is ooh, sorry. You turning out ooh, sorry. I'm choking a little. Oops. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry, I do apologize for that. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I think it allows you to keep more balance here, and this acts as a counterbalance to having your right leg on the ground. So it allows you to, one, stay over your right longer, one, and two, rotate a lot easier around, and three, just just stay more balanced than if you were to squeeze your knees together. And it just allows you to be more connected. All right. So she gets here, super nice here. I think she missed the middle quite a little bit. Instead of here, she's here, so she kind of cut her sweep in just a little bit. So she got here. I would like her right foot to keep turning just a little bit. It kind of stops just a tad bit too much until she kind of shifts a little bit. But this finish, first of all, this catch right here, that discus, oh my God, it's so far back. That's insanity. All right. Really wide, but and kind of in the bucket. And what I mean by that is that her, where was I? I think she lands a little too wide. I think her left side should have landed like here instead of here. But I think that's a product of her touching down here in the middle instead of in the middle of the ring, and her right foot stopping a little while she throws, so she landed a little bit in the bucket. Because if she landed in the middle and kept a constant right foot turn, she would have landed like here, already down, instead of there. But what she does, with that right knee is, I personally like, and I said in my Daniel Stahl video, that right knee to go out and around. I think the Germans usually do a really good job of this. She's slightly out of position on this throw. Again, this isn't like her PR or anything, far from it. So her right knee, God, I gotta stop doing that. All right. Her right knee kind of caves in just a little bit, and I think she's off the ground just a little bit too early. However, her block is fantastic. And I just want you to know, like, the patience you have to have when you catch it this far back, astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. And she does get good push off the ground with her right foot. And she gets her hip all the way into it, like this position. What you'd usually see, if people were to throw with this amount of separation, that discus is going straight into that right cage right there. But the fact that she has the patience to follow through with that is just astonishing. All right, this position right here, really good. I think she, again, is a little too wide, and I think she is off her right foot a little too early. However, her block, astonishing. You'll never see a German with a weak block, ever. I mean, they non-reverse so much. In fact, most of them, especially in this era, did not reverse. They non-reversed. And that makes sense to why they have probably the best finishes out of any country ever. I think they produce, historically wise, the best discus throwers of all time. I mean, they have, like, their worst person, like, on their, like, pro team throws like 65 meters. It's like, that's like their worst guy. Like, the Germans just know how to produce a discus thrower. They've had elite discus throwers every decade for, like, I don't know, probably like 100 years or so. It's astonishing. Like, if you want to learn how to throw discus, watch a German throw. It's crazy. But here, super nice. Let's see, her left foot is there. Let's see where she reverses. All right, gets all the way into it. Super nice. And you see, she kind of does like a glide reverse kind of, where she goes forward and lands flat heel right here. And then she spins around. So she kind of sticks the finish like a glider would. In fact, this position right here kind of looks like Brian Oldfield a little on the finish. Yeah, right there. Which isn't a bad thing. I think it's a very good thing. And I think when you're learning how to reverse, you should learn how to stick it like a glide reverse. The glide teaches you so many good fundamentals, especially at the finish. It teaches you how to hold a strong block, teaches you how to attack a shot or just an implement in general, how to reverse with good mechanics, with you going forward and turning all the way through it. It teaches you so many good mechanics. I say this again, as I said many times, but I think any person their first year should learn how to glide. All right? Because it teaches you, one, how to be aggressive, two, how to get linear in the throw, and then three, it just teaches you really good fundamentals and really good mechanics, and it's just super easy to do and throw far. So I believe that everyone should learn how to glide first, and it teaches you so many good fundamentals. You look at some of the best throwers now, they were gliders. Ryan Krauser, he glided for like almost half of his career. And like a Chase Jackson, sorry. She glided. She was a glider for a long time. All right. I forget if Sharon Minton glided. Joe Kovacs glided for a little bit. Tom Walsh glided for a little bit. You see like almost every good thrower, like Reese Hoffa. I'm not sure if Adam Nelson actually ever glided, but I think Cantwell glided. Like you ask almost any really good shot putter, and they'll rarely say that they started out spinning. I think Maggie Ewan started out spinning, but her finish isn't the greatest. That might be a hot take, but it's a very inconsistent finish. All right, and I believe that the people with the most consistent finishes are the ones who started out gliding. It's coming down again. All right, so yeah, I know this is some hot takes in this video that might be I might get some backlash in the comments, but again, it's all my opinion and it's my channel, so whatever. All right, you chose to watch it. But I think that covers it. Oh, one more thing about the left arm. So she keeps it bent here, and then she starts to extend it a little again. Now it is a little bent still, but this is very reminiscent of like a Robert Harding kind of left arm, where it's slightly bent, but not like, obviously not like this. But then she extends it a little bit, and then she keeps it extended. So I think that's very good as well. You tend to see that a lot with people who bend it in the middle and then extend it again at the finish. That's very nice. And just the stretch she gets right here in her pec, in her chest right here, insane. Again, very reminiscent of a glider, especially at this time. Like, this position is insanity. Oh my god. But again, to do this as a guy with a 2K, it's not very good to have that level of separation, because you just like won't be able to finish it unless you're just insanely strong. There are very few people that can actually get away with this. Like Virgilij Soletna is probably, or like a Lars Riedel are probably like the ones that come to mind instantly. But I don't think I have to look back, but I don't think they have this kind of separation. Their discus is usually almost out of their hand by the time they get here. But I think they catch it back pretty similar to this, like pretty far back. I think Alekna actually catches it a little further back than this. But just some mistiming things. Again, this isn't her best throw ever. This is, and it looks, I can't tell because of the video quality, but it looks like a little wet circle. It's a little wet. Not that should really matter at this kind of level. But yeah, overall, fantastic technician. Does a lot of stuff super well. Gets a super nice orbit, again, because of how she winds. And you'll notice that she's not jumping at any point. She is super low to the ground, gets to the point immediately. There's no, jumping. There's no up in her throw. It's all out. Obviously, she gets lift at the finish, but lift and jumping are two different things. So, as she reverses, she is not up in the air. She doesn't have that 30-inch vert when she reverses. She's not up in the air like a Mac Wilkins used to do. She is here and then slides forward. This actually looks a lot like a 2017 Ryan Krauser finish. Just super nice. Sticks it. And yeah, overall, fantastic technician. I think very criminally underrated. Um, I didn't know that much about her either before I started really researching her. And then once I started researching her, I was like, there's no way, like, I haven't heard that many people talked about her at all. One, she's an Olympic champion, throws 72 meters, and is, a two-time world champ. So off that alone, she deserves respect. And then the fact that her technique is this good, I think she probably has maybe top 5 best technique for women. Um, and yeah, overall just fantastic throw. Does so many things good. Actually, the Germans, in my opinion, pioneered the modern throw. And then you had Vestina Stuyson with Gerd Kanter, and you see a lot of people throw like Gerd Kanter, but Vestina Stuysson's biggest technical hero, he had two. He had Mac Wilkins, and he had Wolfgang Schmidt, and also to a lesser degree, kind of John Powell. But he talks extensively of Wolfgang Schmidt, and he threw around this time a little more 70s, and then towards the end of 80s because of his he got in prison because he switched allegiances, and it was a totally different time. It really sucks, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, like there's a lot of throwers even nowadays throw like this, and if they don't, I think they should, to some extent at least. But anyway, we're gonna end it here. Thanks for watching. Sorry if I offended anybody. And I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day.